Hello, and welcome to Positive Fandom. I'm your host, Artem, and we have Dieter Bastian with us today. How are you today, Dieter?
Very fine. Christmas is unfortunately behind us, but looking forward to reviewing episode 4 of one of our favorite series of this year, Arcane, with you, which is titled Happy Progress Day, which at the moment we're not doing in real life.
Yes, this is, of course, as you mentioned, episode 4 of the Arcane, and this is a very interesting episode.
Yeah.
They talk about how Piltover, at least I believe it's Piltover that they're referring to, has or will be celebrating its bicentennial.
Yeah. And what was great with the start of episode 4, which I was not aware of when I watched the show the first time, that we would make a time jump in the series. And when the season aired on Netflix, after the first 3 episodes was bingeable at once, they made a break for a week. And for me, it was totally fitting with the story itself to do a break for a week, come back after a week, and we have a time jump in the series, which I wasn't aware that would happen.
I wasn't aware either, but I was pleasantly surprised because it
Yeah,
it made sense, in this context.
yeah, and we see a little bit of a different Piltover from the beginning because they managed to get the hex tech working, and there's a little bit more of air traffic than it was before. When I remember the first episode, when Vi and Powder were on the rooftops, I think the sky was almost clear. Didn't see any ships. I don't remember, or at least not much. But now it's a little bit more traffic to deal with, thanks to the Hextech technology, which furthered the commerce between different nations. So they are really thriving at the moment.
Yes, this has technology has really changed
Yeah,
Piltover's ability to travel, and it's affected not just travel but also trade, and has
correct.
brought a lot of prosperity to Piltover.
Yeah, and they're celebrating that. And we see that our inventor, Chase, and Victor, or Chase, is now called the Golden Boy because of his inventions of the Hextech.
Yeah, and what's so interesting about this, Dieter, is how uncomfortable Jay seems to be
Yeah,
with this success.
yeah. I think he would rather be spending time in his lab with Victor, developing new stuff with the Hextech or the crystal balls. But no, there are other issues to attend to for him now. And what was great, considering Progression Day, when we met him after the opening credits, the parents of Caitlin, presented him, as their protege. And if we remember back in the second episode, they distanced themselves from him after the incident, But now he's invented. Now he's getting back in their good grace. Now he's profitable for themselves to involve himself with the Golden Boy. And what's great is we see Caitlin again, now grown up, and she has taken a role in the Enforcer uh, uh, um, team of Piltover.
And
Even
and
if
I
her mom,
somehow
yeah,
get the impression
so
her family is not happy that she's an
no,
enforcer.
no, no. Or uh, as she said, she given her a little bit easier tasks to do, you know, where the security is probably more on the light side, you know. But it's great, and this perhaps this was the first moment. No, not the first moment, because we already saw how much the city has involved, but you have seen how much Caitlin has grown. So and they don't give us an exact date how much years, how many years have passed, but it seems to be a few, because Caitlin is not not that little anymore.
I think it's 7 years.
Okay, that could fit.
Yeah, I think it's 7 years. It's just long enough for someone to really change or grow up if they were a
Yeah,
teenager before. Now, they're 21 or something like that. So,
like
I think that's what we're seeing here. Caitlin, it looks like a woman now,
yeah,
and, she's no longer that young girl who kind of, was tagging along with Jace, in episode 2 to go to the
yeah.
laboratory. And of course, she'd have to be, in order to be an enforcer, I guess maybe you'd have to be 18 or something. Um,
I don't know the rules of how to be an enforcer of Piltover, but
but
that is certainly a progression for her
it
to
really
see
is a
that.
progression, and I think you made such a good point about how different Piltover is. They
Yeah,
were already a shining city, but now it's
but
like they're
now,
shining as bright as a diamond, aren't they?
yeah, yeah, they're at full throttle, and the Jace and Victor actually even want to show Heimerdinger, or they do show Heimerdinger even more new technology that they are already evolved. And like you said, probably in the live chat from one of the reviews, you call them gemstones, and they actually now refer them to gemstones in this episode because they are not that rocky substance anymore. They are really shiny crystal balls now, finally. And they
It's it's
really
almost as
managed
if
to
they heard
harness
my
the,
wish, Dieter.
yeah, they really harnessed the power. But Heimerdinger is happy with their invention, but he says, let's put the brakes a little bit on it. Let's do a testing for a little more than a decade more, and then we'll see how we can put it into the society. But Victor and Chase are probably wanted more of a fast track for it.
Well, we find out so much from this, Dieter, because with this gemstone that they've created, they can power
Yeah,
anything
I
now,
forgot. Yeah,
portable
yeah,
devices. And
yeah,
they talked about using Atlas gauntlets, and they said they can be used for underground miners to work. And I thought maybe that's what the people
yeah,
at Suan do, the underground.
yeah.
Maybe they're miners, maybe they're physical laborers.
When you
And
can see how easily he takes up a big chunk of rock and just crushes it with the gauntlet, there is what you would say a little bit of that steampunk element coming into with the gauntlet. And like you said, I totally forgot about to powering up uh, uh, specific mechanics or ideas. They showed Heimerdinger some sort of a laser that they can manage. It was great. But Heimerdinger was thrilled, but he put a little bit of brakes on it, or at least he tries to.
yeah, and he really seems concerned that I think Heimendinger thinks that these inventions and the utilization of this new gemstone version of this crystal is dangerous. He's scared of this technology.
Yeah, and what was great was when Chase has to give a speech, as the golden boy. What I like about Chase, he's not egocentric or absorbed with himself. He really want Victor to join him with the celebration for him. But Victor is, no, that's more your kind of thing to
Why
give a
did
speech.
why do you think Victor did not want to join him, Dieter?
Well, it is the first time we really see a little bit that Victor is not really healthy. You know, Probably has a little bit of hesitation to go on stage. And he's really more in the spirit of showing their invention. But Chase wanted wants at first wants to do it, but then he sees Heimerdinger in the audience, and he takes a step back, and they cancel the presentation of what they already discovered with the stones. No,
Yeah, they held back, and I thought maybe Victor was reluctant to go and speak on the podium
Yeah.
with Jace also because he's from the underground.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct. Totally, forgot about that. That could be a reason too.
Yeah, and of
But
course, at this point in the series, we don't really know that, but or
yeah,
do I don't think we know, or maybe we do, but I
I
got
think
the
it's a little bit way ahead in the series when they do a flashback that we learn a little bit more about it.
and while this is happening, what's so interesting about all of this is that we can see the progress that's happened in Piltover's, from up top side,
Yeah.
but we also see this illegal distribution of shimmer that's been developed from
Exactly.
the underground.
Yeah. They're doing a little bit of transportation of that stuff, and we see let me just what Sevica, and the other person, I think the big guy with the tattoos, I think it should be Bolbok. I have the cast in front of me, and that's the only name that I could imagine that is the character's name. And they're supervising the transportation. They bribe the harborman, and then we'll get to meet a new faction into it. The Firelights are attacking this transport ship, and they want to actually destroy the Shimmer.
Yeah, they do, and it's kind of good to see that somebody's interfering in this because, obviously at this point, shimmer is an illegal substance that's, as we saw in this particular scene, someone is paying the enforcers money so they can turn
Yeah.
the other way and not show that shimmer is being distributed as an illegal drug. And it seems like this new faction is trying to stop it.
Yeah. And what we, at that point, we can jump a little bit ahead. What we don't
Yes.
know at that point is that the young Echo is the leader of the
I
Firelights.
know. God, it's so good.
But we do meet one of the past who has changed a little bit, just a little bit, with braids that almost go at the bottom, And I totally loved a little bit of, people say more like Harlequin, and I'm totally down for it,
Yes, Powder is now adopted the name Jinx as her
Jinx,
kind of
exactly.
tag
Yeah,
name, and she's all grown up now. She's a
yeah,
young lady, and she, is there. She happens to be there with the Shimmer shipment because
yeah,
she is still working for Silco, and
yeah.
Silco is distributing this, and he wants to make sure that the distribution goes ahead smoothly, but it doesn't, does it?
No, she is taking care of the Firelights, but without any hesitation about destroying stuff, And there's one of the Firelights when he drops his mask, who has a little bit of a resemblance of Vi, and you can see now that she is a little bit unhinged when it comes to that point.
Yeah, she is. It seems like she has, I guess, would you call it like PTSD or something like that? Or
Yeah,
um,
and she goes even into a little bit of split personality mode, and
it's
the
scary.
and the action on the airship is great, and then she comes out with the little Gatling gun, and she doesn't care which is in her way, even if she destroys the Shimmer in the process with it. um, she gets the job done, not how it should be, but she gets it done.
She's a little heavy-handed,
Yeah.
and this,
With the weapons, so I can only imagine that is one of her weapons in the game, little Gatling gun.
yes, yes. I'm so curious, Dieter. We're gonna have to somehow play, live on Twitch. We'll stream on Twitch and play this game and just see the similarities between the game and what we've seen in this series. We probably should do it. Are you
I
interested in
don't think
trying?
we make it very far. And I don't know if my laptop would even be capable of the technical specs of the game. I don't know about the technical specs that you would need to have to play it.
Well, I'll find out some more details, but it certainly would be very
Yeah.
interesting to play as Jinx or to, play as some of the other characters and see if that is one of the features where she
Yeah.
has that Gatling gun and just,
And she even hurts one of her own teammates in Bolcock, who
it
was
is
trapped in this
terrible.
I don't know
Is
how
it
to
the
call it.
crystal
Was
thing?
in
Oh, it's
this
amazing looking.
in the crystalline that the firelights use.
Yeah, it's like some kind of crystal that
Yeah.
Sevica, she gets trapped in it, right?
Yeah, correct.
And
And it's a time sensitive material.
it's so cool looking. It
Yeah.
grows these crystals and you can't move. You're trapped in it.
No.
And I was like, wow, that's a very interesting tool to
Yeah.
use. And it looked so cool.
Yeah.
It reminded me of what they were trying to do in Star Trek with the parasitic ice. This is what they should have done, is this cool crystal thing where they get trapped. They didn't need the ice at all. They could have just used a crystal idea, and you were trapped in the crystals. You couldn't move,
And even sorry to interrupt. The introduction of Jinx was so great when in the underbelly of the airship. You just see the neon lights here and there. Just the presentation, and to show her for the first time anew was greatly done.
Well, it was steampunk all the way. Even she
Yeah.
herself is kind of steampunk. And I loved it too, Dieter. It was just so beautifully done, and you knew who the character was. There was no doubt
Yeah.
in your mind
Yeah.
who this character was, that it
And
had to
now
be.
her inventions work finally. The bombs that she
Yes.
makes. Yeah.
And her inventions are ordnance.
So
So,
the shipment actually doesn't go through, and we see the enforcers, of course, investigating, and we see Caitlin, leaving her post and doing a little bit of her own investigation, and she stumbles across Bolbok, who was hurt by the shot of the Gatling gun from Jinx, and he gets
mhm.
taken away to the prison, and Marcus says that is not your place. She gets a little bit of heated discussion with Marcus, because she wants to investigate what was going on here, who's behind this attack, on what is up with the shimmer substance in general.
And we know that Marcus is still being paid under the table, so to
Yeah.
speak. He's getting kickbacks
Yeah.
from the illegal distribution of the
Yeah.
shimmer, and it's just terrible. I mean, it's being made and it's being distributed, and God knows it's probably going through the hex tech to other worlds. Like this shimmer's distribution is big time. It's on that barge, that cool looking steampunk barge. It's a ship that's floating in the air. I mean,
Yeah.
what isn't cooler than that?
Yeah.
It looks
And
like
you
a
had that
regular.
one moment when you see the travel, you see the rings, and then
Yes.
the travel commences. So there's really a lot of trafficking to build over back and forth.
Yeah, and as you said, Dieter, Marcus is there, and
Yeah.
Marcus is blocking Caitlin from finding out more information about this hit on this shimmer product. Does Caitlin know that there's shimmer there was shimmer there? She doesn't know, does she?
No, but she moves her hand across one of the barrels, where there is the substance left. So I don't know how much she knows about the substance in general, And she actually left her post, no? So Marcus was on the right side, actually.
That is true. She was not following the chain of command from her
Yeah.
superior, and she talked back to him, and he punishes her and says that she has to take the graveyard shift
Yeah.
for the fair from Progress Day. She didn't want to do that shift, but she has to do it, and she wants to keep her job, and she agrees to do it, I guess.
And later, when we see her at the graveyard shift, you can see the other enforcers doesn't really respect her. She's a little bit more even in Piltover of the higher society, more of a princess status. Don't you have to do a tea party to go to?
And
Yes,
I
she's
loved
not.
Dieter, I loved her outfit, and the other woman's
Yeah,
outfit was different from the men's outfit. I really liked the way that outfit looked.
yeah, yeah. It was totally nice to see. So you can see Caitlin doesn't really fit in, actually, not with her enforcers, not with her mom on the upper level, and we jumped perhaps a little bit. No, I jumped a little bit
No, you're
too
fine. You're
far.
fine. Keep going.
Too far. Okay, we had the investigation on the
Yes.
airship. We have the speech that the Golden Boy Chase has given at the progression day, and Mel, you could see Mel, her the most important of Chase's speaker for him. She was not happy that he did held back on the new invention.
Yeah, she walked
Yeah,
out with
yeah,
another, I guess, counselor or maybe one of
yeah.
her coworkers,
Yes,
and they felt that Heimler overstepped himself by discouraging Jace and Victor
yeah,
from giving this remarkable presentation they were all set
yeah,
to do. And clearly it scared Jace and Victor not to go too far with what they've discovered. And I think that what's really interesting about it was that for me, when I first saw Jace and Victor present their new utilizations
yeah.
for
Of the
um,
gemstones now.
yeah, of the gemstones, I think that Heimdinger viewed it as something that could be used as a weapon. And he didn't tell them that, but I got the sense that he looked at it and said, gee, these items,
Yeah,
I understand that you want to use it to benefit Piltover
absolutely.
and Suan, but honestly,
Make work easier.
mhm, honestly, I think Heimendinger didn't view it that way. I think he viewed it as something that could be misused and,
Yeah.
um,
He has
you know,
probably another history with magic.
yes, more that we don't know, perhaps, in this incredible story that we're just learning about that has so much in it.
Yeah,
Um, you know, and another very interesting thing is, as you already mentioned, Caitlin is now, she kind of got reprimanded by Marcus, who's her
yeah,
superior, and she's doing this night shift. And while she's doing the night shift, she notices a fire.
yeah,
And she
exactly.
runs to the fire, and it turns out that the fire was actually a trap.
Yeah, we have jumped a little bit too far, because we have to go back after the airship was raided by the Fireflies and investigation. We see the council discussing what actually. Oh no, you are right. That was later. You are right. This was actually later, because what we forgot to go to the undercity of Zorn, because we see the last stop again. The bar that Wender owns is now under the control of Silco. And even the vibe in the place has changed. It's more like a techno rave style than it was
Yeah, it
before.
is.
It was more like just a pub. And now it's more like a
Yeah,
crazy place.
not
No.
family friendly kind of
And we
place.
can see Sevika, who is voicing her concerns about Jinx not doing her duty correctly by protecting the Shimmer. But Silco says, okay, sometimes shit happens, I would say. And we see that actually Jinx is in the room. Sevika didn't know about it, and she's up more in the rafter. And she comes down to talk with Silco what has happened, and she gives him the little nice in, injection, that he needs of the
What is
Shimmer.
that, Dieter?
Yeah, I think he needs a little bit of Shimmer, to delve a little bit, or to help a little bit with the pain of the eye. As I can say,
Oh,
Shimmer is troubling, but if in the right dosage, it probably can help some sort of a painkiller.
hmm.
No.
It's very
But you
interesting.
have to ask Silco exactly what the shimmer does for him.
Well,
Mm,
and of course, in the scene, it is a bit jarring because we do see
Yeah,
Jinx injected directly into his eye,
yeah,
and that every time we see that, it's very alarming and feels very uncomfortable because it probably is very uncomfortable.
yeah. And after that, we can see Jinx alone with her little bit split personality, thinking about that she saw that she thought she met Vi, and that she thinks, I will show them. I will show them now what I really can do. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's almost as if Silcoats well, he did tell her to take some time off, and
Yeah,
Jinx really
exactly.
took that as a personal setback,
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
blow. And, I think that perhaps, Jinx has been like this all along. Like, this is no different from how
mm,
she would normally behave. It's just that this particular day was incredibly important because I think he said it was their largest shipment of shimmer,
yeah, yeah.
and so a lot of money maybe was lost or,
You actually don't know where they would transport the stuff. So we don't know the business deals exactly what they have in place for it.
yeah, we really don't know, but what we do know is that what was just a simple invention a few episodes ago has now turned into a major distribution, like a legal drug
Yeah,
distribution situation.
exactly,
So
exactly.
Silco has become what he's wanted to become, which is
Yeah,
this sort of underground, crime lord, drug dealer,
yeah,
and I guess this distribution could possibly be going, intergalactic, actually.
yeah. And then we get back, like you said, the fire in the place. I think it was the laboratory.
Oh, is that where
And
I wondered where that was, Dieter.
yeah, considering our Jinx stole the gemstones. So I think it was probably the laboratory where she stole it. But the thing that pushed it a little bit, she didn't only steal the gemstones, like you said, she actually created a fire, and just like you would call it a terror act. Let's bombs go off and people die. She could just have had stolen the gemstones, but she goes a step further, which made Silco not really happy. You know.
And I'm wondering why she did this extra step, and I think it's
Mm.
because she
I think
felt
it's just to show that she's really unhinged. She doesn't want to be caged anymore, or say what she can't do.
it was completely unprovoked.
No,
Um,
exactly.
and so, it just so happened that Kate was working that night. As we said, she
Yeah.
got the late shift.
Luckily, she didn't went deep into the building. You know.
Oh my goodness. And what's really significant is that Caitlin recognized some of the drawings
Yeah,
from the ship that had the shimmer on it. She recognized some of the drawings in
yeah,
this building or wherever they went into. She recognized it and she immediately could hear someone saying that the building's on fire, and then it turned from on fire to an
to
explosion. And
explosion. Yeah,
she sees a glimpse of Jinx
yeah,
after the explosion. There's a bit of irony to this because she was there in the first explosion that Jinx had set off
exactly, exactly.
in episode
Yeah.
one,
So
and
she is
she
there
was
for the second one too.
yes, yes, and so it can't be a coincidence. I can't help but think that she must have thought back to that day when she was with Jace and that explosion happened.
Yeah, um, could be. And after that, we come to the point that I wanted to make when they meet at a council and have to figure out what to do because your precious gemstones are now stolen, and they discuss, can the people of the Undercity, nobody has claimed they were responsible for it, can they actually develop weapons with them? And Chase is even does go so far, considering the security, he wants all things stopped considering Hextech, even the Hextech gate, which going a little bit perhaps way off base here, but considering he wants just for security reasons to stop even the hex gate, which upsets, of course, the people who have had a lot of riding on the hex gate, considering doing businesses with other people, good old money. If you put it in our situation with COVID, when there was lockdown, and a lot of people lost money through it because they couldn't do their business, and now even in Germany, where the numbers are higher than they were even last year, a lockdown is not in the cards anymore,
Mhm.
because of everyone has to roll, the economy has to roll, and here is the actually the same situation. Just because of safety, no, we have to, at least the hex gate has to be open for silver business, so perhaps it's a little bit far off comparison.
No, I think it's a
uh,
great comparison. I think it's very interesting to look at that.
yeah,
The idea of shutting something down 2
yeah,
years ago, Dieter,
yeah,
seemed absurd that we would
yeah.
ever even be talking about something like
And
that, and yet
Chase is in the situation that he says we have to shut it down and see if we can find out where our precious gemstones have gone, and if they, and even one of the council members, the one with the little toy puzzle box, even he says if they had seen what the Undercity can do with shimmer and so, and he's really concerned that they could easily do some weapons with the stones,
you know what I think about this, Dieter, in regards to Jinx going back to the laboratory and stealing this item. I think that Jinx now knows
Yeah,
that this particular technology, what
she,
it is,
yeah,
and because she
through the
works
actions in the third episode,
absolutely, and we see that she has, like, these flashbacks about it. She knows what the technology is, but she likes detonation, and there's a bit of irony is that she in her planning, and somehow I guess maybe she thinks it's a good idea to do this. She remembered where this laboratory
yeah,
was, and I
yeah,
think she's been
or probably
monitoring.
could figure it out easily. It's probably
Yes,
not a big secret where the laboratory
and we know she's
would be.
capable of breaking into the laboratory because
Yeah,
she's done it before. I have a feeling she's been going there, um, more often than we see. I have a feeling that she goes there occasionally and has been
could be.
keeping abreast of, we don't know for sure, but I
Yeah,
just have this feeling that she never stopped going there. And once she realized that they had made such progress, hell, she might even have been in the lab
yeah,
when they were doing
yeah. And when
um,
she comes back to Silco is not happy because just with the first episode with Wanda, he probably knows perhaps some enforcers will delve into it or come through the Undercity again. But Jinx showed him what her little heist got her, and what she probably could do with them, and that uh, calms Silco a little bit,
it
and to go
certainly
back,
calmed him when he
yeah,
saw what this thing was. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah. And
Um,
considering going back to the council meeting about
mhm.
what to do, now there's coming the step where Chase is being pushed a little bit further into, because Mel suggests he will become a council member and is responsible for the security, considering all technology, because he is the developer. Some of the other members are a little bit hesitant because he has no history of being there, and probably Chase don't even want that post, but he gets pushed into getting becoming a council member now.
And it's clear that Medarda, the other
Yeah,
council member, wanted him to be on the
yeah,
council very badly for whatever reason. I think maybe
yeah,
she felt she could control Jace a bit. And, for all practical purposes, Jace is a little naive when it comes to politics, and he has to learn things from her. Even though he is very well connected to this Caraman family,
yeah,
Jace is,
yeah,
just really a fish out of water when it comes to being on the council, which makes all the decisions for Piltover and possibly even the decisions for the underground.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And we see Caitlin is fine. She has, uh, even if she was in the near of the explosion, she already starts more investigating. And Chase comes to visit her to see how she's doing. And you can see her already trying to figure out how it all connects, you know. And Chase says to her, "Well, I'm now at a council, and I have something to say in that matter."
Yeah, he graciously offers her a position in part of, I guess, his cabinet or whatever you want
Yeah,
to call it. But and
she
anybody else would have,
declines. Yeah.
yes, anyone else would have jumped at this opportunity, like to work for a council member, but she
Mm.
turns it down.
Yeah. And she's figured out where she probably needs to go to get the next hint to go a step further.
She
And help
really
us out.
does. She figures out that the person who she spoke to at the beginning of the
Yeah,
episode is probably in prison, and so she
exactly. Marcus
she decides.
said back when they stumbled across him, take him to prison, and it's on a deserted island, the prison, where
Yes.
she tries to if she can have an audience with, I think his name is Bolbok, you know, again. But the guard of the prison says, "Oh, could be not that easy because his jaw is not in the position as it was before." And she asked, "How is responsible for this?" And we meet another character again that we haven't met the whole episode. Not.
Yes, it turns out that the prisoner who attacked him is Vi.
Yeah,
That's where Vi has been all this time. She's been in Stillwater Prison, and what
yeah.
a nightmare for
Stillwater.
her.
Yep. Thanks for the reminding about what the name of the prison was.
I felt terrible when we discovered she was there. And I have a
Yeah.
feeling she's been there the whole time. I think Marcus was the one who might have given her the
We don't know how she ended up in prison. Or wait, actually, you could be right if you think back uh, on the episode 3 when Marcus was taking her back. He chloroformed her. It could probably be that he did throw her in prison at that point.
Well, they wanted someone to pay for what had
Yeah.
happened.
And then when Bilko Bolbok, I hope it is the character, showed up in the prison, and he was at the final showdown of episode 3. She got a little bit upset that she met one of Silko's men again. And as we see in this episode, but she was not just laying around. She's always always in training, which is a great point to make.
Yeah, and I still feel a little sorry for her being locked up. She didn't do anything. Well, actually, she did do
So
something
you're
wrong,
right.
but
It actually could be that after the episode 3 that Marcus actually did throw her in prison after that.
and we have to wonder now that we know that Vi is alive. What kind of effect is this going to have
Yeah.
on Jinx if she knows that her sister's still alive? I mean, this is quite a revelation to find out
Yeah.
that Vi is still there, and it's very sad that she's in prison. Like, this is just
Yeah.
the worst.
But it's quite toughen her up, I believe. And Caitlin's interest immediately switches from Volbok to the person who is responsible for the little bit of jaw dropping of him.
Absolutely. I mean, Jace believes that, excuse me, it's not,
Caitlin,
well, yeah, I guess
Caitlin,
it is.
Caitlin.
Jace and Caitlin believe that it's somebody from the underground who's
Yeah,
doing these attacks, as well as the person who stole the gemstone. So it seems like Caitlin is, from the work that she's done, she's proven herself to be a pretty good investigator, and
yeah,
she seems to
yeah,
be putting some of the pieces together, but she's somewhat off the mark. I mean, she clearly doesn't understand what the underground even is, let alone how to
yeah,
navigate
yeah,
it.
yeah,
So, she, while Kate does recognize the drawings and kind of puts two and two together, she's doing this investigation solo, and very, boldly so. Going to the prison, talking to prisoners, like, this is,
yeah.
she feels compelled to do this, and I guess maybe she feels it's her civic duty, but, sometimes I wonder about what exactly are Caitlin's motivations, in this particular story. Um, what do you
Hmm.
think about
Good,
Caitlin?
good question. Her motivations. I think she just wants to be good at her job. You know,
Mhm.
trying to figure stuff out. Or learning more about the world than her parents allowed her to. You know, so
Yes.
she the show ends with the great meetup of Y and Caitlin. Y says, "Who the hell are you?" Because I don't think, or who the fuck are you? And I
Yeah.
don't think she has any interest to get to talk to her. But that is one part that is one of the few things that you could see ahead, where you think, these two will probably be together later for something. But we will get to that in next episode probably.
Yes, and so I'm kind of curious, Dieter, when Jace and Victor talk about
Yeah.
how, Hex Tech is going to benefit Piltover and the Underground, do you think the Underground will benefit from Hex Tech?
Let me think about it. uh Actually, I don't think it's getting quite used in the Undercity. If I remember the episodes correctly,
Hmm.
they are more the shimmer kind users, And I don't even, but I think that Jinx uh, does does something with the gemstones. But I can't remember anymore. That's why it's great to watch the episodes again. You know.
Well, it is very interesting that, he talks about how it will benefit Piltover and the Underground, all the citizens of the land. And of course, Jinx is ensuring that someone from the Underground is looking at the technology. And as we said, she's aware of what it can do.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's very interesting. I think that you and I are both aware of the fact that, knowing Jinx's history, chances are she'll
She
probably
takes no
use.
prisoners, even with experiments. She has no Heimatdinger to hold her back.
She has no Heimerdinger to hold her back, as you said. She takes no prisoners, but it seems pretty clear that she might want to use this technology as a weapon.
Yeah, of course, of course. You know, always good to have a little bit more up the ante against against others. You have the upper hand. The upper hand.
Yes, and the other thing I was going to say, I had one more question for
Yeah.
you.
Let me
Let's
just
see.
see
Of course.
if I have something here on my little scrubbly notes here. But I think I have mentioned everything I wanted to get in. But this was great to, at the final moment, see why again.
And what did you think about the fact that something that's very interesting about Heimerdinger that separates him from, let's say, the rest of us is that he lives for a very long time.
Yeah.
And his approach has always been, let's take things slowly and let's, in 10 or 15 years,
Yeah.
then we can proceed. And of course, hearing someone say that to you or I, it sounds ridiculous, like 10 or 15 years when they have the technology right now.
Right there. They already have it for them under control,
Yes. But do you think Heimerdinger makes some good points with what he's saying about, because after all, Jace and Victor did, kind of pull back. They didn't show their demonstration as a result of Heimerdinger's influence.
Chase pulled back, Victor was
Yes.
already on the go, to show
Yes.
it. And Mel would have loved when he would have shown something on Progression Day that he could show the masses. I think Heimerdinger and his history, gives him a little bit of more knowledge. But as if we jump a little bit ahead, his position will change in the future when it
And
comes to the council.
these is it Firefly or
Firelights. Firelights.
Firelight?
I was under the impression Firefly at first, but when I watched the episode, Silco referred to him as Firelights.
Yes.
Firelights.
They seem to be this separate group that clearly doesn't like what's going on with I guess maybe Shimmer or with Silco.
And when I watch the episode again, now I know that faction. And when the first time I watched the episode, it was more just of an action scene for me. There was a faction someone wants to steal, but I didn't know that this faction would have a deeper involvement into the show later. And certainly didn't thought Echo would show up again.
And also, one final thing that I wanted to say was that we heard Jinx say that she had some issues. This is one of the first times she admits that, something is kind of bothering her to Silco. Can she trust him by telling him something like that? Or do you think he'll say, he has to get rid of her because she can't function or do what he needs her to do?
I think those two have really a special relationship because I think they can see themselves in each other. Left on the outside. I think they have a special bond together. And what was great, considering once again the animation style, to show how unhinged Jinx is with great in between animation. That was great too. And I want to mention the great sound design the series has too. So it's once again top notch on every level.
And my final question is, let me just find the woman's name for you, has to do with the other council member whose name is
we have Mel, we have
Medarda.
Medarda, okay.
What do you think Medarda has special plans for Jace? And if so, what do you think they are?
She probably knows that Jace is the right step to put her, even stronger on the map. If I can jump a little bit ahead,
Yes.
At some point, her mother will show up,
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that, And it's always great if you can impress your mother how far your own city has come.
Definitely. And what I'm kind of curious about too is we have yet seen the role that Shimmer plays. I mean, we saw the club. We saw the club in the underground, but we have yet to see the role that Shimmer has played in the development of the underground, let's say 7 years later. This is I don't know if it's exactly 7 years, but I'm guessing it might be 7 years.
That could probably track.
Because if anybody is like, let's say you're a 10-year-old, a 9 or a 10-year-old, by that time, after 7 years, maybe you're 16 or 17. No, is that right? Yeah. 16 or 17. And you look like a grown-up now. So I think it would be fair to say that, any of the children there
even
would look like
even
in the middle now.
if at the beginning you can see all the airship traveling and that it was really, I think, at the point when Caitlin showed up, that I thought, oh, there are some years have passed by. You could have thought, okay, they developed the hex tech really fast, but it was probably when Caitlin showed up, then I recognized, oh, there's a lot of time. There's some time. There's more time passed by that I would have thought at
And
first.
and my very last question, is Victor getting better or worse?
Probably on the downside, was the thing.
Mhm.
But the flashbacks in the future will tell us a little bit more of him. And if you play the game, he's not in that stage when you play the game, as far as I know. So it's great for you, somebody who knows the game, to see just how the character will evolve to the stage that you can play him with, uh, later in the 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 story itself. So it's really nice to recognize that the series works as a prequel for the players.
It really does, and this episode was an eye-opener of the changes that have happened, both in Piltover and Suan, and, boy, what a change they've both experienced, but, there are good and bad parts to the changes, and, now that we see Vi, of course, our anticipation is that she's going to find,
Yeah,
Jinx, in the
yeah,
future, because we definitely want them to get back together, but how will it go? And is Jinx stable? She's kind of exhibited these tendencies. What will Silco say? So there's so much to look forward to
yeah.
in the
And it's
next
great now
episode.
when you can see and you watch the opening credits, you already see how the characters, what they will become, in the opening credits.
Yes,
There were stuff that you don't know how does it fit, but you can see Chase with this weapon in the opening credits already. So the opening credits is actually further ahead than the story in the series. The series is, but it's great to see it now when you have all the development after behind
there
you
was
behind you.
there are so many new discoveries in this series and so many
Yeah,
nuances and things. It's got such great rewatchability because there
yeah.
are things that you recognize
Like you
after
like you
seeing
said,
it.
like I said to you, normally I just don't have the time to watch a series for a second time because always new stuff is coming. So this is probably the first time I've watched a series on Netflix for a second time. And it's great. It's really great to see the episodes again, in a fresh perspective, and just doing one episode now after the other, and just you can just see even more. You can even more appreciate how good the season, how good the show is.
Absolutely. And any final thoughts on this episode, Dieter?
It's actually probably if you it would probably tough to do a ranking, if you would do a ranking of the episodes, but this one was a really upper tier for me, but actually they are all upper tier episodes, but it really drove the plot way further in the 40 minutes that they gave us.
I agree, and, it seems like the episodes keep getting better and
Yeah.
better, which I
Yeah.
love about it. It really is a remarkable series. Dieter, where can people find you?
They can find me here reviewing uh, Arcane with you, or on the network on Let's Get Physical Media, or even a little bit new stuff. If somebody wants to follow me on Instagram, I now have Instagram. It's DBDeets, D point B point DEETS, D point B point DEETS, DBDeets on Instagram.
Fantastic. And as always, you all can find me here on Positive Fandom. You can also find me on the Burn Network on Midnight Metal on Fridays at 3 a.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. We're going to resume that show in about a week or so. You can also find me on Monday nights on Toxic Femininity with Lavinia Creole at 8 p.m. Eastern. And sometimes you can find me on Fridays at Midnight's Edge in the morning at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for joining us for this review. We will continue with this series.
Exactly.
And it is a great series. So for those of you who are watching this, please go ahead and watch it. And thank you for watching the broadcast today. And as always, everybody, please remember to be kind.